This is the Inferno Podcast, the official podcast of UAB Athletics. Blazer fans, this is the place each week to get an inside look into UAB Athletics. This episode is brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Episode 37 is the Inferno Podcast. Welcome in. My name is Landrum. I'm your host. The Inferno Podcast is brought to you each week by Legacy Credit Union, the official credit union of UAB Athletics. Coming up in today's episode 37, we're going to talk baseball. We'll catch up with UAB baseball coach Casey Dunn. Got a couple of pivotal conference series coming up to close out the 2025 regular season, and hopefully, fingers crossed, going to be playing in the American Athletic Conference baseball tournament coming up in Florida in just a couple of weeks. One of his outstanding performers, newcomer this year to the Blazers, but it's Todd Clay, 366 batting average. Not only there on top in the American as far as conference individual stats, but in all of college baseball. You don't want to miss it. We'll also go through some other things happening in and around the UAB athletics program. It's episode 37. It's the Inferno. We're glad you're with us.
Trent Dilfer here, head football coach of the UAB Blazers. I want to tell you about my friends at Legacy Credit Union. Legacy began as University Credit Union in 1955 and remains committed to UAB faculty, students, alumni, and fans. Not only do they support the Birmingham community, but they are also proud sponsors of UAB and UAB Athletics. Visit LegacyCreditUnion.com and find out why you should become a member today.
The Inferno Podcast, Blazer fans, we've made it really, really easy for you. There's a lot of different ways that you can consume this podcast each and every week, and we certainly appreciate you doing that. But you're going to appreciate it because we're going to keep you up to date on everything going on within the athletics program, the green and gold. YouTube, it's pretty simple. At Inferno Podcast UAB, like, subscribe, ring the bell, tell your family about it, your friends, your neighbors, spread it around the office. This thing is going to catch fire, literally. Appreciate you joining us there on YouTube. But also Instagram, you can find us Inferno_pod on Twitter, or the X if you prefer, at InfernoPod_UAB. On Facebook, that's kind of the OG, right? UAB Athletics. You can find it there on Facebook. And, of course, you can go to UABsports.com. We got links. We got all different ways. There is no excuse for you to miss the Inferno Podcast each and every week.
The if in life, it's a world of possibilities. If you go for a night out with friends, if you can keep an eye on your money along the way, if you know you have overdraft protection with no fee transfers from savings, when you get a low balance alert, it's easier to say yes to fun. If that sounds good, try Regions Life Banking.
Stay ready for the if in life. Regions Bank embrace the if in life.
Welcome back into the Inferno Podcast. Landrum Roberts along with UAB head baseball coach Casey Dunn. As always, the Coach's Corner is brought to us by our friends at Pepsi and Viva Health. Coach, how are you?
Man, I'm all right. I'm just trying to get another week rolling.
Yeah, as it stands right now, we've got 2 series left in the regular season. Then you're going to have the conference tournament. Let's go back to this past weekend, one that you probably don't want to talk about, having to travel to Memphis, get swept by the Tigers. You had a high-scoring game. Interestingly enough, all very competitive games, which you would expect, but you had to be a little bit disappointed not to come away with at least one W.
No, I mean, I think, a little disappointing would be an understatement. I think in 20-some-odd years of doing this, I chalk that one up at the probably top 2 worst weekends I've experienced as a coach from what, you feel like should have happened. And what's crazy is I didn't think our guys played bad. I thought we competed well. It's just, they had a good weekend too. All 3 games came down to the wire. We had opportunities in each game at the end and just, didn't come through with it.
You have a high-scoring game in Game 2. It was 12-10, I think was the final. The opener 2-0, a 1-run loss. That was a low-scoring game on Sunday. So, as you said, when you look at the box score, you look at some of the highlights, some of the game stories, and if you watched, you didn't play that bad of baseball. Do you count it up? And I feel like it's a term that maybe I am probably guilty of it too, and saying parody. But do you see like that's continuing to escalate?
There's no doubt. And within our league, I think it's as much so as I've experienced in our few short years. Even San Antonio, when you look at their record, they're running away with the thing, and we beat them once, had chances in the other two. So, I don't think there's a big gap between 1 and 10. And the reality is, if you told me, hey, you can roll into that conference tournament as an 8 seed, I'd be just as confident going in as an 8 seed as a 3 or 4 seed. I just don't think there's a big gap. I think it's truly, who plays better that day, who gets the better starting pitching that day, is really what's dictated this league. And when you look at, the last couple weekends, there's been some, outcomes that you wouldn't have expected. And I think it goes back to there's not a big gap between the talent level between the 10 teams in our conference right now.
There's still more baseball left to be played, Coach, but as we reflect already on some things that are in the books, you got a series sweep of the top 10 team in the state in Auburn and getting that this year and some of those accomplishments. And you played really good baseball at times this season, but for whatever reason, when conference play started, it was just some of those in between games. You couldn't come out on top.
I think you can always find reasons, you can find excuses as to what turned things, but I think we've got a good group. I still think it's the most talented group we've had in my 4 years here. But you lose a couple guys on the mound that you were counting on. We're probably 3 guys short there. It shows up over a 3-game weekend series. You can kind of hide it in a single game here and there, but it shows up over a long weekend, and we've run into not being able to finish some games a couple times that have cost us a win here and there. But I still think this is a group that has some ability to be successful. We've got 2 weeks left. We put our backs up against the wall, but our guys have responded when they've kind of been pinned in that corner. They've responded pretty well, so hopefully we can kind of fight our way out of this thing. And I do believe, if we just make it to Clearwater, I think we got a shot once we get down there.
Coming up this weekend, you're gonna travel on the road, and that's part of that 7-game road stretch towards the end of the regular season. You're gonna take on a Charlotte club that's very good. Break down what you've seen from the 49ers.
I think they pitch it extremely well. Offensively, they haven't put up big numbers, which typically they've been more of an offensive-driven program with kind of big arms. They've kind of changed, I think, their philosophy a little bit, looking at it to more pitchability on the mound versus more power arms. They've had a lot of draft picks over the last few years that have struggled a little bit command-wise. They went more pitchability heavy this year. They've got a guy on Friday that's as good as anybody in the league. We like our Friday guy. Colin's been pretty special, and, their guy's been up there with him and everybody else. So, the Friday night game will be pretty good. If I was a betting man, it'd be pretty quick. I think you're going to see 2 really good arms compete against each other, and and it's going to come down to who can kind of score 2 or 3 probably. So I think that'll be a fun game to be a part of, just because I think it's two really good college pitchers that are throwing well. And then as we get into the weekend, we're going to have to be able to score runs. I think when you look at the teams that have beat them, they've won 8-6, 6-5. Not a lot of low-scoring games. So, if offensively we can kind of keep clicking a little bit, we've been a little better of late. Didn't really see that this weekend at Memphis, but yeah, we out-hit them in all 3 games, so we just couldn't get the timely hit. But, I think it could be a good weekend for us, but it's going to be a challenge. They've got a good ballpark. It's a good place to play. So hopefully our guys will be excited to get up there.
Speaking of that, kind of a side note, first time for me to go to Charlotte's campus was this past football season. And the way that I compared it to someone who hadn't been there, and you would be able to say yes or no, I think it looked a lot like Sanford's campus.
I've told people it's Sanford with 20,000 people, man.
Okay, so I was right.
Yeah, it's for a public institution, it has that private school feel. But now, man, whoever kind of was the master planner or designer of that place, they earn their money, because it is. And when you look at it geographically, they have a train line or shuttle line or whatever that runs from campus to downtown, which is a 15-minute run that students get for free, which is pretty neat. You can be in the heart of Charlotte in 15 minutes for free. And then 15 minutes north, you've got Lake Norman up there. You've got all kind of hiking outdoor areas. So it sits in a really neat geographic area. So I think they've got a good draw. They've got a good thing going up there athletically right now, too.
Take us through a road trip. What does that look like for a college baseball program like yours?
We'll bus to Charlotte. It's kind of right on that bus or fly line. And if we're on or near that line, I'm going to choose a bus. It's a lot less headache, a lot less hassle. And the reality is, man, you put a college kid with Wi-Fi for 6 hours, man, they can stay busy. So, so it's not a big deal. So we'll bus up Thursday. We'll stop somewhere along the way and eat. Usually I'm in charge of the Thursday meal.
Is that always Cracker Barrel?
No, man. I'm a local guy. I'm hashtag no chains, man. Like, we ain't gonna do a chain meal. So I'm gonna find some local establishment along the way. So Thursday is kind of the meal I control, so I can at least eat good once that I get to pick. So we'll travel up. We'll stop somewhere in the middle of nowhere and eat, and then we'll practice there Thursday night, and then get ready to go at it again Friday morning. Our guys usually lift Friday morning as a group. They'll get a lift in, with Friday being a night game, just kind of get up, move around a little bit, and then they're on their own a bunch. We don't do a lot of team stuff on the road. I kind of took that more when I was in college playing for Coach Baird. It was more of a pro mindset, man. Like, here's your meal money, do what you need to do, and, be at the bus on time, which I liked as a player because I liked freedom to be able to go where I wanted to go, eat what I want to eat. I didn't want somebody to tell me, sit down in the hotel and eat this bad chicken and green beans that are terrible. So
that are $35.
Yeah, and again, it's awful. We did that once in my college, literally first trip of my college, I guess sophomore year. We had a team meal in the hotel pregame, and later Coach Baird, who I played for, walked up and was like, "Hey, man, how was that meal?" I said, "You want an honest answer?" And he goes, "Yeah, honest." And I said, "Coach, is awful." He goes, "I didn't like it either. Let's never do that again." I said, "Great." And literally that was the one and only time we ever ate a team meal in my 4 years there. But so we give our guys some freedom. We'll feed them after night games just so they're not chasing something at 10:30 at night. But other than that, just let them be on. We've got a great group of parents that make trips and travel. So usually if one kid's parents aren't there, another set is, and they're going to pick him up, take him to eat with them and stuff. So we've got a good core groups of mom and dads that make a lot of trips, which makes it easier on the kids. And they can take their meal money and put it in their pocket if they didn't lose it on the bus ride. So, it becomes it's a good little thing. I tell people I like playing on the road. I enjoy it. I loved it as a player just to see other places. And, heck, when I played, I'd get up on Friday mornings and me and my room, we'd always go to the campus and we'd just walk around all day. We'd walk around, eat lunch on campus, and, our goal was to walk through the parking lot, find somebody leaving that'd take us back to the hotel. It's pre-Uber, so we just have to beg for a ride.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, we could find somebody, we could sucker somebody into giving us a ride back to the hotel. But no, man, it's a good time. I think our guys get along well. We've got a good core group that, they enjoy being with each other, I think, which is important.
When you're a player, you're walking around someone else's campus. Are you genuinely well received, or are you trying to camouflage yourself as an active member of their student body?
I don't think I ever really broadcast that I was an outsider. I don't think. I think we didn't wear the team shirt. I don't think when we walked around.
So you skipping around the quad in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I don't remember that too much. I do remember, there's obviously stories we don't need to share, but the guy, my roommate, his goal was to find an attractive young lady to give us that ride back because he liked living with me on the road because they didn't check my room for curfew because I was asleep, and I'd get pissed. If you knocked on my door and woke me up, I got mad. So, when I'd come to go to bed, I'd put a sign on the door, "I'm asleep, do not knock." And thankfully, I was good enough they listened to me. But him, on the other hand, he didn't like to go to sleep early. So, there's one night we were in Oxford, and I got a call in the middle of the night on the hotel phone. He's like, "Man, I'm stuck. I said, "Where are you?" He goes, "I'm at the beach." It's like, "Man, you got problems, brother. There ain't a beach nowhere near Oxford, Mississippi." But evidently there's some lake they called the beach, and I don't even know how he got back, but he was there when I woke up.
So was he in Ocean Springs? Where
I don't know. That was a great question, but hopefully our guys aren't doing stupid stuff like that. But it adds some stories. Definitely anytime you get 30 guys on the road together, there's going to be something that comes up.
What are you thinking about on a 6 hour or doing? How are you occupying your 6 hours on a bus ride, Coach?
Landrum,
you got to catch up on Netflix.
There's a little bit of scouting that you do. I knock out some phone calls. The Royal Match game on your phone. I don't know if you know what Royal Match is.
I got to try it.
I'm a pretty high level player.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm typically in the top 5 in the state of Alabama each week, and I've been nationally ranked.
What is Royal 5?
Royal Match, I tell people it's like a grown-up version of Candy Crush is what I like to say it is.
Okay.
Some people would argue it's not a very grown-up version, but I consider it the grown-up version of Candy Crush, and I'm pretty good at it, So our staff, we've got a couple of us that play that stupid game, so that can pass some time along the bus ride.
How much of that time is spent roster management already thinking about next year?
I would say a good bit, man. Yeah. And again, when you talk about if it's a lot of times when we travel on that Thursday, we've got assistants that are on the road and they just meet us where we're playing because they're out recruiting. But especially if the bulk of us are on that bus together, that becomes a time for us to meet and kind of talk about kind of where we're at, what we need to do, especially this time of year. When you're talking about the end of the season, you're talking about having to shift to a smaller roster next year and what that looks like, trying to downsize a roster while also improving a roster. And, who's out there, who's available. We're coming up along portal season and, you're already starting to have agents and advisors call with, hey, so-and-so's going in, so-and-so's going in. And, so all that stuff is starting to pick up a little bit. But the biggest things for us is, we think we have a good core group of guys and, keeping those guys together, I think will be imperative as we try to build the program and try to improve upon what we've done.
Road trip coming up this weekend at Charlotte. You got West Georgia. That's a road midweek game coming up next week. And then you get FAU at home to close things out for the regular season. Besides winning, and that's the obvious answer, what do you want to see from your team here in this final stretch?
I mean, I think just, finding the ability to win is the key, man. You talk all season about improvement and getting better. And then comes a point where it's just time to start winning ball games, and we've got to that point now to where we've got to win some ball games. And, win or lose, I'd like to see our guys kind of have that finish mentality of, and then, like I said, that's where this weekend was kind of tough, especially 2 of the days, because I really thought we put a good effort into it. We just came up short. Friday they made a heck of a play in the late innings that, really cost us. It was a great play. We were, really 2 foul balls in the ninth on Sunday from 2 doubles. Less than a foot if you put them together. So, we've closed. We've done some good things, but, I'd like to see this group just kind of finish on a win, finish with a high note, finish with something that can kind of carry some momentum into next year.
One of the players that's going to be a big part of that, you're going to meet him next as the Inferno podcast continues. Welcome back into the Inferno podcast. Landrum Roberts once again being joined by UAB head baseball coach Casey Dunn. And, Coach, we got one of the bright spots. I'm going to say the bright spot, one of the big bright spots, though, of your team this season. He's a kid originally out of the Auburn area, played at Auburn High School, spent a few seasons there at Pensacola at community college level. But, he is setting it on fire talking about Todd Clay.
It's been a heck of a year. And really from the start, really from the start of our fall when he rolled in here, he got off to a torrid start to a fall. And, you always wonder if he's a fall All-American. I've had a lot of those through the years. But, started off the spring, started off swinging the bat extremely well and just hadn't slowed down. Really, you always expect as more scouting gets out there, more information, people make adjustments. And I think that's been the impressive thing is as people have adjusted to what he's done, he's been able to adjust to what they're doing. And, really had an advanced approach at the plate, and it's paying off for him right now.
Todd, welcome to the Inferno. Congratulations on the season that you've had so far. 366 average coming into today. That was the updated, at least, that I saw. Is that accurate?
I think it's something like that. It's
366.
Right,
you hit 295 last season in Pensacola. Could you ever imagine in your wildest dreams you'd be carrying a 366 average right now?
No, I would have never thought.
What's been the difference for you?
I think scouting reports has been a big part. Those JUCO umpires are a lot worse too. But Moss and Coach Dunn have done a good job getting us ready and all that.
Inconsistency with the JUCO umpires? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, there were a few. You'd have the part-time guys who work at 9 to 5 in the morning and come out and umpire a game.
Aren't they pretty much all part-time guys, though?
Most. You'll run
I
into a
umpired
few
JUCO
now.
ball when I was still in college.
At the junior college level, I'd say yes. They're all
okay.
If they're full-time, they're retired and full-time. At our level, you'll get some guys that can do it full-time. Because you got to remember, with all the perfect games, summer stuff, those guys can pick up money year-round now, too. So they can kind of pick and choose.
You ever been thrown out of a game?
No, never.
No?
Never.
What do you say? Let's just go back to your JUCO playing days. What do you say if you don't like a pitch? I know that you're not turning around and looking at the umpire and trying to show him up. There's a way to go about it.
Yeah,
you saying something mid at bat?
Yeah, definitely. I think Dunn will get on me for doing that here sometimes too, but
this is where I told you we need the little mute button. Man. We need to bleep some stuff out. If you keep digging deep, I'm going to have to start beeping over here.
You shouldn't have told me that because that's exactly where I was going to go.
Yeah. But,
what are you saying, Todd?
You'll give him a little bit of something. Like, I'll talk a little crazy to him sometimes, but some of the JUCO guys, they kind of liked it. You know, I mean, one guy was named Kerry Day. He'd be ripping cigarettes over at first base in between the games. But he loved when you talked to him. He'd start talking back to you, and he'd go on and on the whole game, whole day, whole weekend. So it was cool.
So you don't mind the inconsistency as long as it's just consistent inconsistency.
Exactly.
Or missing outside if a guy is going to give a pitcher the outside part of the plate. Just do it consistently, right?
Exactly.
Is there a certain pitch that you don't like?
I mean, I don't want to say that on here, but there's definitely some I don't.
See, he's well trained.
Mm-hmm.
That was test number 1, and he passed it, Coach.
Ask him about staying in there on a fastball.
Yeah,
really
staying in there. Are you scared of the baseball?
A little bit.
Really?
I mean, I don't love to get hit.
I mean, he got hit the other day for the first time jumping out of the way. It was pretty impressive. It's the loudest our dugout's been in a long time is when Todd finally got hit.
He missed by a lot, and it got me good when I was getting out.
Where does that stem from? Nobody wants to get hit by a 96-mile-an-hour heater. But
I mean, I don't know. I just always get out of the way. Sometimes I'm a little dramatic with the
you don't
reaction.
wear all the braces when Coach Dunn played. They didn't have all of that crap.
I got my elbow guard on, hand guard, but I mean, sometimes I'll just be a little dramatic with it. When they're coming in, you throw a little dramatic in there.
Do you wear the cute little oven mitt when you're on the bases?
Not fast enough for one of them.
They have so much stuff. They can accessorize with so many things. It used to be eye black, and maybe if you had some flip downs or you had some Oakleys.
And it's not even the stuff. It's everything is customizable now.
Right.
So it's their colors. It's their logos.
Compression sleeves.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. You know, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It's a little much.
How long does it take you to get ready to put all that gear on?
I mean, it's quick. You get pretty good at it. Feel like you're doing a damn pit stop here and there.
Yeah.
So it's quick.
Just a little gas and go.
Yeah, you just throw it all on and go.
Okay. I want to continue to go down the most interesting or creative thing that he's ever said to an umpire while at the plate. Does that follow you? Do you have umpires that hold a grudge? People are human.
I think the rotation is for the weekend. They go from the plate to third. So they'll be talking to me over there. Like, I had one guy who does a lot of our games bring up a call from the night before, and I'm like, let's move on with it now. But yeah, like it's a little, I don't want to hear about it anymore. I know you missed it. So he was going back. And then we can go look at the True Media stuff that has a percent of where it was. And that'll make me even madder when I check it at night. It had a 9% strike probability or whatever. So that would mean, I don't know. I haven't said anything too crazy, I don't think.
How are you talking to him, Coach? Because you know this from being not only a great hitter in your day, but also behind the plate. You've got a pretty good feel of what they'll allow, what they won't.
No, I think, again, as long as you're not yelling, as long as it's not profane, most time they'll listen to you a little bit. I think guys get in trouble and start using certain words that are trigger words that can get you hot in a hurry. But most guys will talk to you a little bit, especially guys in our area. We've got, I've learned the further west you go, the more sensitive umpires are. As we get into Texas, that's a sensitive group of umpires out there. Yeah, guys around here are a lot thicker skin.
You start talking about their brisket.
Yeah, it's just not good, man. I don't know what it is, but guys around here have pretty thick skin, so you can get into them a little bit. I think it's that SEC culture, maybe. There's some fiery guys in those leagues, so they're used to hearing it a little more. Your
maturation as a player, and let's talk about your approaches at the plate since getting to Birmingham and playing under Coach Dunn and his staff. What has been a big difference for you? And get technical here. You can go nerd out with baseball.
I think biggest thing for me was junior college. I was getting myself out a ton, swinging early in counts, and then swinging at not pitches that I can necessarily do work with. So I think now, I haven't been hitting super early in counts. I've been trying to work counts, get deeper into them. I think that's when I start doing my most damage and hitting all my homers and doubles and stuff. When 2 strikes, 3 balls, 2 strikes, and stuff like that.
When you're looking at scouting reports, and I'm just because I don't know this, are there certain tells with pitchers, and they're tipping their hand on what they're going to throw?
We can. Coach Dunn talks about all the time. His senior year, he had a guy telling him every pitch that was coming from pitchers tipping stuff, but he still says we don't got nobody smart enough to do that for us. But you can tell sometimes.
I got a garbage can on a ladder.
Hey, look, right now we're not above anything, Landrum. I'll be honest with you.
I'll do it. I will. I got time.
That's right.
Okay, so certain things that you're looking at from a technical standpoint. How much video is implemented now with college baseball?
A ton. I mean, you can watch video on anybody we're about to play. I mean, it's all out there,
So your approach is at the plate being more patient. Are you waiting on one specific pitch?
I mean, sometimes, I hit away heaters really well, so I try to get that necessarily, and then, I never swing at them, but I get a ton of hung breaking balls. That's probably should start swinging at, but
situationally, certainly it can be time, it can be score, it can be point in the game. Although I guess that would be time. But are you thinking just make contact, hit it hard somewhere, or are you thinking, you know what, this would be a great time to just put one over the fence?
I try not to necessarily change anything at any point. Try to kind of keep the same thought process and load from the fall all the way up till now. So that's kind of been working for me so far, and not necessarily letting moments get too big and change what I'm trying to do and stuff like that.
Coach, how hard is that to teach your players not to let the moment get too big?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, again, knowing who you are as a hitter.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that Todd's done a good job of. There's a point early where he was obsessive over why am I not hitting home runs, and he'll tell you that. And I, keep telling him, 400 with a bunch of doubles is a pretty good year. It's not a bad thing. So, let's not worry about, trying to lift the ball anymore. But I think it's, getting guys just to understand who they are and then making that their approach, and I think that's the thing that's been great about his year is, he talks about hitting the ball the other way. He hits the ball to the backside of the field as good as anybody we have, which, again, is why the strikeout numbers aren't high. It's why the power production is up, and because he's able to take away what most pitchers try to do. And he's done a really nice job because the guys don't like to throw the ball in the college game. They'll try, but they're not comfortable with it. The away from the hitter is just a more comfortable spot, and that's where he's made his money at this year for sure.
Is it straight gas that a guy is bringing? Is that the toughest to make contact with, or is it the guy that's throwing the straight gas that has a little bit of movement or a little bit one way or the other?
I think the dudes who are throwing the breaking balls whenever and wherever is the hardest. Those are the guys that give me the most trouble. And then they have a good heater with it. So, you just can't necessarily sit on one and then hit the other.
Funky arm motion. What are you? How do you? Are you just looking at a certain point where ball is released, or are you going and looking at all the?
I kind of just stare at their face, their hat, and then right when he's about to throw it, I kind of lock in on the ball. Because I wear glasses, so I can't see too well, so I can't be staring too long at the ball.
I've seen where at the major league level, a lot of those guys go into the glasses now.
If you look at vision for your MLB guys, 20/20 is bad. All those guys have enhanced vision. So when you see the more glasses, prescription lenses, and things that those guys are using, it's all just to enhance. Your 2010s, your 25s. Those
Ted Williams.
Yeah, it's become normal up there at that level. Even during the draft process, the screening, vision training is a part of it. There's teams with not every team, but there's a lot of pro teams that have vision training implemented through the minor league system now on computers and different things. So I think that's why you see more glasses now is because people realize, 20/20 don't cut it. When you're trying to identify spin of a ball coming 100 miles an hour, you got to get some type of advantage. So, they're trying to really take wherever their vision is, they're trying to maximize it to the fullest. 7
games left in the regular season. You're one of this team's leaders. What are you preaching to your teammates, teaching to yourself, or preaching to yourself as you head to Charlotte and you got FAU and then hopefully the conference tournament?
I think the biggest thing for us right now is playing, having a complete game. It's either the hitters are going or the pitchers are going. We haven't really had a lot where we're both going at the same time, and then we can start, earlier in the year we were clicking really well against Auburn. We were both playing good, putting up runs and then not giving up any, but now it's either one way or the other. So I think that's the biggest thing is all coming together to end it, I guess. Make a little push here at the end.
Can we go back to that first Auburn game? That was one of the most awkward endings and I'm trying to even remember the scenario, but I can remember listening to it and then watching it and going, I don't know if I really remember a game ending that way.
That's a big game for hometown Todd over there. So that was
Auburn.
That's a big one for him, family. So
it was. It was weird. We all rushed the field, and then we're getting called off, and we're like, what? And then the umpires come back on, and we both go back on, and Coach BJ and he's on them get back in the dugout. It was weird. I don't know what the call or arguing was, but felt like we walked them off.
Yeah, it was one of those things that when you watch it live, I was like, what is going on? And then, one of the camera guys in our dugout was like, Coach, I've got it, right here. Do you want to look at it? And our kid who scored the walk-off run was, jumping up, screaming, yelling at the dugout as he was scoring. And when I saw the first, I was like, oh, crap, he missed the plate. And then I was like, well, that's what they're reviewing right now. And then thankfully, as you slowed it down, he touched the plate during his jumping for joy. But it didn't look good, So once I saw that, I was like, all right, well, that's what we're looking at. Now, hopefully, they have a camera angle as good as the one that was in our dugout to see it. So, it added a little more suspense, to what was a good night. But, it seems like for whatever reason, the last few years we've had, some type of drama when we played them here in town, one way or the other. So it's, it's been a good little series. It's, something that, Todd has some ties there with his family and growing up there. Wesley that had the hit that walked it off was there at one point. Ryan that got the win that night and the save the next time we won was a guy that was within their program. So, there's a lot of kind of connections that I think added a little more for our guys those two nights for sure.
Yeah, that is for sure. We continue here on the Inferno podcast. Landrum Roberts along with UAB baseball coach Casey Dunn, also with Todd Clay, who has just absolutely been setting it on fire this year. 366 average heading into this weekend series. They're at Charlotte. So you say that just putting it all together, both pitching and hitting wise, in your approaches at the plate to finish this thing strong, would you say your assessment of this team and right now results, wins and losses, is it where you thought it would be at the beginning of the season, or is it adjusted a little bit?
I thought after our start, I thought we were going to be one of the top teams in the conference, really, but it seemed like we kind of just started blaming each other and almost dragging stuff along that didn't need to be dragged along. So it's kind of just, I don't know, trying to get back on the right track.
It seems like with Coach, and I don't want to be speaking on a turn here, but it does seem like that he believes in there should be a certain aspect that is player-led. It should be a player-led team. It's you guys that are they're going to have to do it out there on the field. He can give you all the hoorahs and go get them, boys, but ultimately it's you guys. Who are those leaders on this team?
I think Nick Holyfield's been a big one. He's been really good. I mean, even for me, I'm not the best about being in it all the time. Like, I'll lock or unlock in a lot. And then Colin's been a good one. And some of the younger guys, like Cheeseman, he's been great, even though he hadn't been playing the whole year, every game. But he's been a great energy guy, never letting anything really get under him. And then the two, Tyler Wall and Tyler Harrington, have just been great. I mean, they haven't played the field every game, but they've been great guys to be in the dugout, and just everyone loves those two.
You superstitious?
Not at all.
No?
I don't do anything the same.
Okay. Yeah, you thought about changing anything up for the final 7 games regular season?
I mean, I personally haven't, but I know we went to Eye Black Sunday and that didn't work, so we're probably not going to do that again.
What about one stirrup up, pajama pants on the other leg? Can we do that? Is that allowed?
Could be.
It'd be allowed. It'd be bad luck.
It'd be a bad look.
I think the baseball
Fashion
gods.
police?
I think the baseball gods would cross you off for that one.
Yeah, I don't think we got anybody who can pull that off.
All right. I don't know if you know about this, but we had this little thing we call lightning round. We throw out some just random questions. Some might pertain to baseball. Some might just pertain to life. And we let you just rapid fire. And then there might be some follow-ups where I'm really curious about your answer and I want to learn more. Okay?
Perfect.
You good with that, Coach? You're going to participate as well, maybe?
We'll see.
All right, we'll start this. Todd Clay, question for you. What world record do you think you have a realistic shot at beating?
World record.
World record. It can be for anything.
Oh. I think I could win the most Clash Royale games in a row. Would be my pick.
One more time.
I could win the most Clash Royale games in a row.
What is that?
It's a game we all play. I mean, it's just like...
It's another childish game.
Yeah, it's
man.
pretty stupid, but...
As a guy who plays a childish game, it's a childish
It's
game.
pretty stupid, but I mean, we all play it. We get pretty into it.
Describe it.
I mean, it's just like...
Is it dirty?
No. It's like, you know what Clash of Clans is?
No.
I mean, it's just... I don't know.
Yeah, it's
pretty,
childish.
It's
game,
pretty
man.
dumb.
I mean, if you're talking to first,
Yeah.
second grade classroom, they would really be.
Yeah,
into it.
I mean, you just get like 8 cards and you play them against each other. It's just different, like, characters.
So it's
like a battle game.
It's like a variation of Pokemon.
Kinda.
Okay.
See what I deal with?
I do now, and this is telling a lot. Would you? I'm not going to ask. What about you? What, you got a world record? You think you got a shot at beating?
No. I don't think there is.
No,
I'd like to say I had some kind of hidden talent I thought I could maximize. I don't think I do, though.
I'm with you. I'm falling apart.
Yeah,
I really am. I don't know why. I'm right-handed, but my labrum left side.
Really?
Yeah, I have no idea what I did. So if you need me in relief,
you're not
your
not from the left side.
No.
Out there.
All right, Todd. Would you rather travel to the past or to the future?
Definitely the future.
Future?
Future. We know too much about the past already.
Yeah, but what if you could go back and change the past?
I mean, you start messing with stuff from the past, starts changing here, and then
all of a sudden the time,
yeah, you start warping everything and all that.
and then you're catastrophically affecting other events that never would have happened.
Exactly.
Okay, in the future, how would you use that to your advantage?
I mean, you could definitely make a lot of money off it. Get some lottery numbers or something. So I might do that, and then
He's watched Back to the Future before.
Yeah.
Come back with Biff and his little, game sheet stuff.
Yeah, but I didn't say that you could come back to the present.
Oh,
If you stuck
stuck
in the
there?
future, then all of a sudden you just wake up and you're older.
I don't know. Then I'll probably go past. That sounds like the worst.
Yeah, the past that you could use that to your advantage. If you go back, you have the scores or whatever,
have some knowledge.
and then you're able to. Anyways, do you have a preference, past or future? Go back to your days of just.
I'd be honest with you. If I had to go one direction, I would go forward.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these that looks back and says, "Oh, that was the greatest time of my life" or whatever. I kind of like where I'm at. I've enjoyed the past, but I kind of look forward to what's to come. So I think I'd go forward.
All right, this is kind of along those lines. If you could have dinner for one player in history or one person from history, who would it be and why? Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably go with Trump.
Yeah.
I love Trump.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not a very good answer. But
No, that's a great
probably who I'd
answer.
pick.
No, that's fine. And you can love Trump. It's okay. If you say that you love President
Yeah.
Donald Trump, it's okay to say
Yeah,
that.
that's probably. I
What-
definitely want to eat dinner.
What
with
would you ask him? Keep it PG.
him. I mean, I think I'd ask him anything. I mean, he knows so much about everything. So I mean, maybe drop some files or something. He's definitely got something.
I'd
hidden back there.
want the full. I want the full transcript of everything that they know about JFK and the assassination.
I mean, you can find some of it on Twitter. You got all the Twitter nerds who think they know so much about it.
Yeah,
They'll start reading to those.
I'm gonna need to see those transcripts.
See, I'd like to know the whole Area 51.
Area, yeah, the alien thing.
I would be more intrigued by that than JFK.
What if they're all tied in together?
I mean, that would be phenomenal.
There's that theory out there that everything is
It could be. Yes.
hobby that takes up your time outside of football, or excuse me, baseball. Is it football? Do you like to play football every now and then?
We played flag a little bit this fall. We do the tush push Shelly, and we had a guy had to get stitches in his eyes from getting hit in the shoulder doing that in practice.
You got a fun group.
That
Like I said, you see what I deal with.
I
every
do.
now and then.
That might have been before a game, actually.
It was before a game.
But
When you send a guy to he can't just go to the normal ER. He has to go to the Eye Foundation ER. It's not a good thing, Landrum. It's not the way you want to start off a day as a coach.
That's really tough.
Yeah.
Do you have a hobby that takes up your time outside of coaching baseball?
I'm not a hobby kind of guy. I need one. My wife keeps telling me I need a hobby. Say if I had one, unfortunately, you can look at me and tell I like to eat, but I like to cook a lot. So
Okay.
if I'm depressed, if I'm, they lose and put me in a bad mood, I'll probably go cook something, make myself feel better.
Well, competition barbecue. We could get into that.
I'll be honest with you, Landrum, I'm pretty good, man.
Are you?
I'd say COVID sparked my barbecue days. I mean, I've always felt pretty confident in my ability around a grill or smoker. But COVID, brisket was the final thing. I felt like I wasn't quite restaurant
You needed
quality.
to master.
I needed it. It took some trial and error, but I figured out a process during COVID, and I literally would wake up as when I'm going blank the over there off Arkadelphia, the meat they supplied all the restaurants and stuff. They opened up to the public during COVID.
No, you're talking
I'm going
about
blank on the name now, but I'd go over there literally every morning and just buy stuff, come home, cook it. and then just call people in the neighborhood. Hey, I got this available if you want it. People come by, give me $20, and that was my little side hustle during COVID. But
Yeah.
but I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty good, man. I fell into love with the rec tech. I'm a rec tech guy. I don't even know what rec tech is. I'm part of that cult, and I feel pretty good about my abilities there.
Do you cold smoke anything?
I do not cold
You never
smoke.
done any cold smoke?
I've tried it with some like cheeses and stuff.
Yeah,
but
cheeses.
I'm not a cheese guy, to be honest with you. I like food hot, so if it's cold, it better be sweet. I'm really not a sweets person. This body's built on meat and potatoes, not sweets.
Okay. All right. COVID taught us so much, and there were so many things. It was like, what are we going to do?
You had to figure out what the heck you can do in life, didn't you?
I started gardening. Mm-hmm. I had never done that before.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have not done it since. Mm-hmm. But that was what I did.
I tell you, my front lawn was putting green quality.
Was it?
It was, and I cut literally the church across the street from where you live. I cut their grass because it annoyed me they didn't cut it enough. So I just started cutting it during COVID too.
Yeah.
Again, what else did I have to do?
So many other things that learned during that time. That you didn't have to suffer through it like
I was
some
a
of us
sophomore
did.
in high school.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get the full experience.
Have you ever been in a classroom? That brings me to this question because you were there in high school at that point and you were doing virtual learning.
Yeah,
There's a lot of virtual learning
we
now.
went back
When's
for
the
a
last time
junior-
you were in a classroom, Todd? I'm just kidding.
We went back for our junior, senior, and then I don't have any online. I'm all online right now, but I had one in person this fall. It was a tough one.
You're a big guy, baseball player. You model your game after.
I don't watch a ton of MLB, but I watch a lot of college ball, and I like watching all the hitters from Tennessee. Not to be on them too bad, but I love watching those guys hit.
Yeah, they got tamed a little bit this past weekend.
Yeah,
They did.
Yeah, by a team that you guys swept this year.
Yeah, that was a big weekend for Auburn. Especially basically shut them down 2 days.
Yeah, and to limit their home run production, they can hit a lot of
Especially in
them.
that ballpark.
Yeah, for sure. Favorite sporting event to watch, not the College World Series.
I grew up going to the Iron Bowl every year,
Yep.
so that's always a fun one. And then, Auburn, Georgia was a good one too. But Super Bowl is probably the funnest to watch, on TV.
And that's where you bring out your grilling mastery.
I'm a big Olympics person, man.
Olympics?
I am. I'm a big Olympics guy.
Did you get into it for Paris?
Not as much so this time around for some reason, but I do like to watch the Olympics. I like to watch the odd sports. I don't know why, but I'm a big pro USA. Outside of soccer, I'll be honest with you, I'd pull, the adage I pull against the Russians. They were playing against the soccer because of soccer, man. I can't pull for us in soccer. But outside of soccer,
There's a lot of
I'm
running.
all in on pro USA.
A lot of running in soccer.
There is.
And a lot of, I'm getting excited.
It's one of those things that, thankfully my son never did it. My daughter did it one year. And it's one of those things where, you got all these kids running around out there that never touch the ball.
Yeah.
So there's so many people that after the game, great job, did well. I don't know if you did or not. You never touched the ball. You just ran back and forth. You didn't do anything. I just don't get it. And anything that says you can't use your hands, what is that all about?
We got
What are
into the
supposed to
Olympics.
use? Yeah.
Ordered an Olympic flag we put
you?
out in front of the house, and I got something by one of the, I don't know, my wife ordered it, but it's a really soft cotton T-shirt made by one of the Kardashians.
Yeah.
I'm sure it wasn't made by a Kardashian, but
You pro Kardashian guy too, huh?
she's no. I didn't. I found out after, but it's really, really soft, and I can see why people like
But you're
their
a
stuff.
Kardashian guy though, huh?
No, not a Kardashian guy.
You're not?
I remember the OG, Daddy Kardashian during the
Now-
OJ trial.
Yeah, I tried and I was recruiting down to Miami, and that was when the height of the Kardashian show first started, and they had their shop in Miami.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I was like, I got to go in there.
Miami.
I felt a little odd walking in. They weren't there. Shopping.
weren't?
No, so I didn't get to see any of them. That was a little bit of a letdown at the moment. I'm not a Kardashian guy, but when I saw the shop, I was like, that's pretty cool.
Man, when we were growing up, Coral Gables, Miami, that was a
big
hotbed
time.
for baseball too.
It was big time. I used to recruit a bunch down there, and for some reason I don't anymore. I'm not really sure why. I had some good players. Maybe that's where I should start going again, But now it's some people are scared to go down there, but it's a neat area.
It's a really neat area. We had a chance.
Cuban
we went down
food's
there.
pretty good too. So
Man, a good Cuban sandwich.
that's solid.
Yeah, with the fried plantains.
It's a little different.
It is a little bit
than
different.
what we get up here.
Yeah, it's good for you. You like a good Cuban sandwich?
Can't beat it.
No. No. One more thing. Favorite movie all time? What's your go-to?
movie? Oh, I'm big in the Harry Potter series. Just the movies. I don't read the books or nothing like that. But I love those movies.
Just all of them?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I like probably... What's the fifth one? I can't remember the name of it, but that's my favorite one.
You're going to ask these two.
See, I'm proud to say I have no clue. And I'm kind of proud of that.
But that was going back to COVID. That was one of the series. I was never interested in that genre, but I decided I was going to watch it. And it's
pretty good.
It's very entertaining. There's something to it.
Pretty good.
I don't believe in witchcraft or anything like that. By the way, putting that out there. I don't want you to hit me with a follow-up now that I'm a pro Kardashian.
Have you done the Harry Potter world? Have you done the Harry Potter world before? So I've done Harry Potter world because I had kids, and my wife, they had to read the book before they could watch the movie, and then we could go to Harry Potter world.
Where is that? Universal?
Universal is Harry Potter world.
Yeah, they got a whole new thing with Universal right now.
I'll be honest with you, I probably would have enjoyed it if I had any clue what my wife and kids were talking about the whole time, but again, there's also a point of pride that I had no clue what they were talking about. So. Do
you have plans to ever go back to Disney World?
You know what? I'm actually not an anti-Disney person.
Okay.
So I would say if I'm fortunate enough to have grandkids, I would definitely do the Disney experience with them. When I was playing in the Royals organization, our spring training was in Haines City, right by Disney. So I was somewhat at Disney probably 4 or 5 days a week. Because somebody's parents would come, they'd always have a day left on their pass, and we'd just go mess around after, inter squads or whatever. And kind of liked where I liked it a little bit.
Yeah, Disney. I went down there. That would have been 2000. And I went down for the bowl game, but went to Disney, did Universal, and all of that. But from a ride standpoint, and I'm a thrill ride guy.
Universal's going to be better.
I would rather go to Universal, but if it's just proximity and not having to invest a whole lot of time and travel, Six Flags of Georgia, man.
Six Flags ain't bad.
That was an easy tote for you growing up in Auburn, right?
Grew up going.
I hadn't been to Six Flags in forever.
It's been a long time.
Been a long time. Man, let's do it as a group.
I think it's worth it.
You feel good about taking your full roster of guys to Six Flags?
I would, because there's no doubt I've got a couple that would be scared to death of roller coasters, and I'd like to see them react.
I want to go back quickly to your approaches to the plate and being scared of the baseball or being timid or backing out.
Soft. I like to use the term soft.
Is there a training? Back in the old days, you throw guys in there and you put the judge machine on there.
Yeah, we don't do it often. We did do, I think, just one day where we put some white foam balls in the BP bucket, and I would throw those at them, where they'd have to take the white foam balls. But Todd jumped out of the way of the foam ball too.
No, he didn't. He stood in there. We did one drill this fall. He said my feet were too slow, so he got about 20 feet from me and just hit balls as hard as he could. And I was diving back and forth at him. It took me till about the third ball to realize they were fake baseballs, because he was hitting them hard.
I have a prediction this weekend in Charlotte. He's not going to move.
He won't move?
He won't move.
Landrum, I will tell you, again, there's a lot of things about Todd we can go into, and we don't have time. But, we do the little watch bands, what I'm talking about, for signals.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody do this. And there's a lot of people that wear these bands. You'll look over, Todd will look at his band, he'll just start take it off the Velcro strap, just be tossing it up in the air. Pitcher's about to throw. It's like, Todd, get ready. And he'll put it back on and try to get ready all of a sudden. So I don't know, the ADD thing, I would think he's a poster child for it, I don't know if we've ever officially been diagnosed that, but I'm pretty sure it's a safe bet.
I got some buddies, and you would be their spirit animal.
Nothing official there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Landry, if you really dug deep into this one, he could have his own show with you if you really dug deep.
We're going to need a follow-up visit. Todd, best of luck this weekend.
Thank
Outstanding thus far this season. Just keep adding on to those great numbers and one of the best averages in not only the conference but in the country. And let's go win some baseball games.
Turn it around this weekend. Thank you.
Todd Clay, UAB head baseball coach Casey Dunn. The Inferno podcast continues. This week in UAB athletics, as the sports calendar year coming to a close, the summer months approaching, we still got college baseball, UAB. So we talked to Coach Dunn about that. Going to Charlotte, taking it on the road this weekend. Friday night, you get a 5 p.m. first pitch, Saturday at 3, and then Sunday at noon. You can follow along there at UABsports.com if you're not planning on making the trip. Meanwhile, Coach T. Smart, UAB softball team, trying to close out a great regular season and doing it in conference tournament play as they're in action this week as well. UAB graduation, a big part of what was going on with the festivities and all of that last weekend on the UAB campus. And also Coach Andy Kennedy, UAB men's basketball. We're going to catch up with AK in just a few weeks here on the podcast, but continuing to add to that roster for the 2025-2026 men's college basketball season. Impressive haul so far, not only from the high school ranks and signees there, but also via the transfer portal and also the junior college ranks. We appreciate you being with us. As always, you can find everything you need to know. Calendar, game times, news, notes, stats, all of that is available at uabsports.com. This is the Inferno Podcast, the official podcast of UAB Athletics. Blazer fans, this is the place each week to get an inside look into UAB Athletics. This episode is brought to you by Pearl River Resort.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.